Rapid, I extend a very warm welcome to all our respected professors, faculty members, participants, fellow colleagues, and everyone joining us on Zoom and Facebook. Today's policy debate is organized by Rapid with the support from the UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office FCDO. Today's session brings together bright young minds from two leading universities, BRAC University and East West University, to engage in a lively exchange of ideas on one of the most important questions shaping development and thinking today. Can industrial policy replace neoliberal reforms as a driver of development? Industrial policy has returned to global discussions as countries rethink their growth models, balance state interventions with market efficiency, and respond to new challenges of competitiveness, inequality, and climate transition. Through today's debate, we hope to explore these ideas from multiple perspectives, encouraging participants to think critically about what kind of policy frameworks can work best and serve Bangladesh's future development path. Representing the supporting team from BRAC University, we have Nushat Nouri Hossain and Muhammad Tamzid Abid Bari. On the opposing team from East West University, we are joined by Ifat Binte Abedin and Mustafa Nakib. We are honored to have with us Dr. Mohammad Deen Islam, Research Director at RAPID and Associate Professor at the University of Dhaka, as the moderator of today's session. Dr. Deen will guide the discussion and ensure that the debate remains insightful, balanced, and engaging. This policy debate is a part of RAPID's efforts to create a platform where young researchers and students can critically engage with contemporary development issues, exchange views, and build the confidence to contribute to national conversations. We hope that this will be a thought-provoking discussion, one that challenges assumptions, deepens understanding, and perhaps even spark new ideas for future research and policy dialogue. Once again, thank you very much for being with us. Now, I would like to hand over to our moderator, Dr. Deen Islam, to moderate the session. Over to you, Deen, sir.
Thank you, Dara. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're perfectly audible. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, everyone. And Rapid Research and Policy Integration for Development is a think tank research organization here in Dhaka. So Rapid regularly organized this policy debate to facilitate youth participation in policy discourse. So we'd like to understand the young generation's perspective on important economic policies that actually shape their life and their career. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, and particularly uh, the participants from Bright University and West University. So we already know the topic, but let me share a few words. So if you look at the economic history of Bangladesh, so generally we used to follow very restrictive policies when it comes to trade or industrialization, privatization. So our policies are not very neoliberal term. We used to be very protected and we're still very protected economy. Uh, and this actually provided us some economic growth over the last few years or few decades. But the problem is this growth is not inclusive. So the development, if the growth is not inclusive, development cannot be sustainable. And we have seen events like July, August uprising in 2024. So any development, if it has to be sustainable, then it needs to be inclusive. So these policies, the industrial policy, so far pursued by Bangladesh, actually failed to generate enough decent jobs in the country. So young population, if you look at the Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics data, labor force survey data, about 1 in 5 youth are not in education or training or so they are not in labor force. Also, if you look at the youth population who are in labor force, their unemployment rate is very high, is double than the national average. So we have this employment generation issues in country. So given this, I hope let me clarify that this is not a debate, traditional debate, where we'll have winner and losers. This is a policy debate, and we would like to understand a policy from different perspectives. That's why we have supporting team and opposing team. But our main goal is to understand the policy discourse surrounding this issue. So I am very uh, eager to hear what our young nation perceive about these policies. So without further ado, let me briefly tell you how we are going to proceed. So we will start with the supporting team, uh, the team who are supporting the issue of the debate today. The first member of the supporting team will have 8 minutes. I'll give him or her a warning at the end of 6 minutes, and please finish your speech by 8 minutes. Then we'll go to the opposing team, and the one of the member from the opposing team will have 8 minutes, and then we'll then return back to supporting team, and this will continue. So we'll have four uh, speaker today. We'll hear from them, and I hope that all of you will actively participate after they finish their speech, and we'll have a lively discussion after their speech. So let me start with supporting team, our participant from Brack University. I guess Nujhat Nuri Hussain. Yeah, are you going to speak first?
No, sir, that's going to be Tamzit. I am the second speaker.
Okay. So let me now invite MD Tamji David Bari. Please take next 8 minutes to uh, share your thought and your arguments. Thank you.
Am I audible? Hello, everyone. Am I
Yes,
audible? Okay.
yes.
So I believe that it would not be a controversial statement to make that Bangladesh's growth has so far been heavily reliant on RMG exports. And the common consensus paints this as an indisputable victory of neoliberal reforms undertaken under the guidance of World Bank and IMF. However, I would argue quite the opposite. Historically, all economies that specialized in manufacturing or industrialization have attained a competitive have attained a competitive edge globally have only managed to do so through enacting protectionist measures. Examples include Britain and the US in the 18th and 19th century, Germany and Japan in their post-war catch-up periods. And for more recent examples, one need not look further than South Korea and Taiwan. And this is by no means an exhaustive list. Especially and interestingly, Britain practiced rigorous protectionism to become the largest exporter of wool in the 18th century and only adopted a liberal policy, a policy of complete free trade, after it had attained a sizable technological lead in manufacturing over the other countries, and even reinstated tariffs during 1932, 2 centuries almost after the Industrial Revolution, when it had conveniently lost its manufacturing edge. In other words, history does not vilify the infant industry argument, it actively encourages it. And this conclusion becomes stronger still when we look at our own history. The multi-fiber agreement, which directly led to the formation of Desh garments, and therefore the beginning of our RMG industry, was a global protectionist policy. And throughout its lifespan, our RMG industry has repeatedly been given preferential treatment, bureaucratic leniency, and protection from competition through credit subsidization, preferential import capabilities in the form of import duty restrictions regarding materials related to the industry's functioning, and even preferential access to global markets. Is it really any surprise that even now the contribution of RMG to our total export base hovers around 80%? That RMG is now our most competitive manufacturing product. Thus, based on historical evidence, I would argue that it was protectionist policies that drove our growth for decades. Like all the economies that attain their competitive or global competitive edge through manufacturing. And I would further argue that it was the protectionist policies undertaken that was the key to our development, or at the very least, one of the key drivers of our development so far. However, this overwhelming reliance on RMG also reveals Bangladesh's greatest economic vulnerability. Its almost crippling reliance on remittance and RMG. Naturally, the only way to shift this paradigm would be to encourage diversification. And even in the domain of diversification, I would argue industrial policy can play a pivotal role, especially because of Bangladesh's unique characteristics of demographic homogeneity and labor intensity. One of the core issues with fully liberalized markets is that naturally, a selection bias is introduced into decisions regarding investments. Because rational investors would only pick profitable investments, and profitable investments can only be made into avenues or sectors or industries that are already profitable or have a proven track record of profitability. Normally, we track this through credit rating or through potential profitability or through the track record of an industry in other countries.